Hey, I'm going to say rejoining us on the MARR Army Rock Show, somewhat of a regular on the show. We get them on from time to time. We've got Phil Michaels from Lady Diesel. They're out of Philadelphia. They got a brand new, well, kind of a brand new record. It's almost a year old now, I guess, called Store Bought Love out. Phil, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, man. It's always a pleasure to talk with you, my brother.
So, same, right back at you here, man. We always have a good time when we see you at a show, whether you're playing or whether you're in the audience. So, glad to have you on. Now, I think we got you on right after the album came out, but it's been out a little while now. So, folks that may not know Lady Diesel, why don't you introduce us to the band a little bit? You know, it's a band of veteran Philly musicians. So, tell us a little bit about who's in the band and how you guys came together.
All right. Well, the band is myself, obviously, and Pete Lacquatera, who was formerly with Cyanide Saints, Chico Crow, who played bass with me in Hammer Down, and the lovely and talented Damian Monte Carlo of Mach 22 fame. This whole thing kind of got started because, man, how long has it been now? It might have been a couple years or so. When I was still living alone in my little apartment there, Pete sent me a song one night, and he said, look, my singer says you can't do anything with this. What do you think? He said, if you can write lyrics for it, let me know. So I sent him the lyrics back in 10 minutes. I said, here's the song. And that song was Sweet Whiskey Rider. And it was, I loved what Pete had, what he had created with his guitar, because I said, dude, it's like dark Creedence Clearwater Revival, but dark, almost a little frightening. So I wrote the lyrics accordingly, and I've spent some time in the Big Easy, and it just, hearing what Pete had played just really inspired me to write these lyrics, and now the song is literally a cornerstone of our set. And we love playing it. It's a good time. Everyone digs it. And that's kind of how it all fell together. Chico's my boy. He's my brother. So if I'm playing in a band and there's a bass player needed, that's the guy that's going to be right next to me, because he's very talented and he's my boy. And he and I, through thick and thin, But it was funny when Pete and I were talking about, well, who are we going to get to play drums for this? And I said, I'm going to reach out to Damien. And he goes, okay. I said, I just love the way he plays. Damien, for anyone that hasn't seen Damien play in any of his bands, he's in several, he just has this gift for not only great timekeeping, but it's like you can time eggs to this guy's meter. And I said, this is the guy we need for this project. And Pete went, agreed. And Damien, we sent him some rough demos. When I say rough, I mean, yeah, they hadn't shaved in a few days. But Damien hit me right back. He goes, yeah, dude, when you want to start working on it? The funny part was we didn't actually get to start working on it as a band until, let me see, we played our first show. Man, we've been together almost a year, but we played our first show last February, but we didn't have our first rehearsal until the July before that.
Yeah, that's a tight schedule now.
Yeah.
Hey, something I always wanted to ask you, I've been watching you play for a year. You personally have almost kind of like a little trademark of doing that slide guitar thing, which is almost a bit of a lost art in the rock and roll world these days, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, man. I've always loved slide guitar because it can the slide can bring so many dimensions to a tune as opposed to a standard lead guitar part. You know what I mean? And all the great bands that I've ever heard, that I've ever loved, have always had an element of that in there. And the funny part about that is, now I'm not going to lie to you, I've messed around with it over my career, which is, pretty long at this point. But the thing that really got me doing it steady was in my last band, Hammer Down. When the original guitar player left, we had a song called Making the Girl, and it was very much slide driven. So when the next guitar player came in, he couldn't play slide. So it was pretty much left to me to figure it out. And I'm not going to lie to you, the first couple times I played slide live, Yeah, man, it was a friggin' nightmare on wheels. But luckily, an old friend of mine, Walt Kowicki, who's a full-time musician down in Florida now, one of the greatest slide players I've ever seen. I called him up one day and I said, Walt, man, I'm having a hell of a time with this, man. He goes, well, what are you using? I got this brass slide. He goes, get rid of it. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, what finger are you wearing it on? Well, I'm trying to use it on my ring finger. No, put it on your middle finger. All right. He goes, you need a Dunlop glass slide. Get a glass slide. It's lighter. You'll be able to feel it more, and then you won't have to change the setup on your guitar to play slide. So, strangely enough, like within a couple rehearsals, I got it going pretty good to the point where now, you know, as we've come all this time forward, I actually write songs for slide. Because now I can kind of do it at will, and it's a great feeling. It's like, I may not be the greatest lead guitar player that ever lived, but I can play some slide.
You definitely can, man. That's why I picked it up and wanted to ask you about it. Like I said, it's kind of a trademark of yours for folks that have been watching you for years. So, hey, you guys got a nice show coming up on January 19th. Do you want to tell folks about that? Looks like you might be doing an acoustic gig.
Yeah, you know, it's a strange thing, you know, as we go forward in our lives, you know, we all have our responsibilities and whatnot. So we were asked to do this show, and of course, our friends Babylon Shakes are on it, who we love. They're like our brothers that are just in another band. And, but Damien is going to be out of town. He'll be out at the NAMM convention, because Damien works for Tama Drums, so he's going to be out there. So we were like, all right, well, we can't take the show. And then that's when, strangely enough, Pete said to me, he goes, you know, dude, we haven't done an acoustic show in this band yet. I go, you know, we really haven't. And what's more fun than just showing up with a couple of acoustic guitars? So, you know, we called C.T. McManus back from, you know, and from Rock and Roll Union. We said, you know what? Just put us on at 8 o'clock. We'll do an acoustic set. He goes, are you sure? I said, no, it'll be cool. Trust me, it'll be okay. It won't be scary. No one will get hurt. You know. But and now we actually rehearsed last week, and we rehearsed with Damien playing drums. But we put a couple of rubs in a couple of the songs because it's fun. You know, to me as a songwriter, if you want to know how cool your songs really are, play them acoustically. Because if they stand up acoustically, then when you plug them into a Marshall, it's all over but the shout. So I'm really looking forward to this, and Pete and I have kind of put a couple rubs in. Chico, you know, we kind of put our little heads together and said, yeah, let's mess with this one and mess with this one a little bit. And so, yeah, we're really looking forward to this show. And just, you know, on that level, 2019 is really looking like an ass-kicking rock and roll year, dude.
Hey, I want to ask you about a tune. I might have asked you before, but it's been a while since we talked. Lyrically speaking, I think Tears Go By is one of my favorites on the record. Tell me what that song's about.
Oh, man. It's funny. A friend of mine just did a write-up on us from Philly Rock Radio, and he paid me... are you okay with me saying his name?
Yeah.
Okay, Kevin Law and his partner John, big fans of ours. I'm actually wearing their radio show T-shirt right now. He probably paid me the best compliment I've ever got as a lyricist. He said that my lyrics sometimes are more like a picture than they are actually written words.
That is nice.
And I read that and I went, wow. Man, I guess I'm really doing something right. I was so humbled by it. You know, I sent a message right away. He's like, Phil, he goes, that's how I feel. But one of the things he put into it was his Earworm song from our first CD is that song, Tears Go By. And the thing about the song is this, and January 2nd is the 6-year anniversary of my mother's passing away. And so my whole immediate family's gone. please, don't cry for me and send me messages. It's just how my life's going. But that is kind of what inspired that song. We all go through our lives, and we have our ups or downs. We have our peaks. We have our valleys. And we have the things that hurt us, things that make us stronger. And that's kind of where I went with that song. It's basically like, like the lyric says, don't hide what you're feeling now. Don't deny. You'll make it back somehow. Because really, that's what we all do. We get knocked down. We get smacked on the nose with the newspaper. And then what do? We're human. So we climb back to the top. We keep climbing. We get knocked down a couple rungs on the ladder, and then we climb up some more. And that's all in our nature. So that's basically, it's like no matter how bad you got hurt or, what's going on in your life right now that's not making you happy, you're going to persevere. If you focus, you're going to persevere, and you're going to make it to the other side, back to your happy place. And that really, in a nutshell, is what the song's about.
That's a great message, man. And, we share something there. I lost my dad a year ago on January 3rd. So we've got, a little similar situation going on there with that. So
yeah, it's hard, bro.
No doubt about it. And,
it's hard.
I'll listen to that song differently now, knowing that story behind it. That's one of the things I love about doing this show, is I get to hear the stories.
It's like, I'll give you this real quick. One of my favorite lyrics in the song is turning scars to stars. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's what it is. It's like, yeah, you just been hit hard. So how are you going to make this positive? Because we got to move on.
So, hey, I don't want to pry in your life here, but I saw a cool post, a New Year's Eve picture who you all were celebrating with, and I know your group there, man. And do you got, I'm looking at the picture, and you got, Heaven's Edge guys, Cyanide Saints guys, so much talent in that room. Do you guys ever just break into a musical jam when you all get together?
What's funny? This is going to make you laugh. Renee, the love of my life. We have this, we live together. We have this great garage thing off of our home in South Jersey. But the weird thing about it, it's got a back porch. A porch that looks over on the street behind us over this field. So what we like to do is, when the weather's more, preferable, spring, summer, etc., I've had some of the best musicians, and they just come over, everybody brings a bottle, everybody brings whatever, and we hang out for the day, we pass the guitars around, and it's like, it's amazing. It's an amazing, I'm talking like, Kevin Mercer from Zillion Dollar Babies, Rod Margolis from Money, Mark Evans from Heaven's Edge. We hang out back here, we play music, George Rumble from the Dead End Kids. We hang out back here, we have some drinks, and we just play for hours, like to the point where, people are looking at you like, how long can you guys really do this? It's like, we can do this as long as we need to.
One time you got to do a Facebook Live of that. I would love to see the audience you get just from that free form Facebook Live. But, it is at your home, so I guess I understand why that may not always go off that way. So.
Yeah, sometimes our neighbor runs by and he doesn't have pants on. It's weird. It's a whole thing. But no, I honestly, being serious, I'm very blessed. I have a close circle of friends that are, strangely enough, all very talented musicians. And, we've all known each other for what seems like Actually, I've known the guys in my band less time than I've known Mark Evans. I've known Mark since the Galaxy, But this little group kind of came together, and it's just... And now our friends from Babylon Shakes, we love hanging out with them too. It's great to work with musicians that you're on the same page with, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You've all seen and done it all. Whether you've had a record deal or not, you've seen and done it all. We've all busted our balls in the clubs, and we've toured, and we've done all this shit, and yet we continue to do it for one simple reason, is because no one told us we had to stop.
Well,
And then, so you just keep writing songs and you keep playing for whoever wants to hear them.
well, I can tell you, man, we don't get up to Philly as much as we would love to see you guys as often as we do, but we're going to keep coming up there because, it's funny, all the guys you just mentioned, I love the scene up there. Every time we go to a show, it doesn't matter which one of those bands is playing. You look around and a whole bunch of those other bands are there watching, and you all support each other so well in the Philly music scene.
Yeah, we do. It's like, again, I go back to, besides the Philly scene, like I said, like the guys from Babylon Shakes, our friends from Rat Rod, Whiskey Grin, Stone, these are all great bands. Streetlight Circus from New York.
Yep.
These are all bands that we got to work with. We got to know these cats and do shows with them, and we're like, yeah, man. So let's keep doing this. And it's a beautiful. It makes my heart feel good. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I love rolling into the show and saying, all right, we got Babylon tonight with Rat Rod. We're playing at, one of our home joints, and we're just going to rip a hole in the roof. And it's a beautiful thing, man. I feel bad for people that don't get to have that feeling ever.
Well, all they got to do is get up to one of your guys' shows up there in the Philly, South Jersey area. Once again, they are Lady Diesel, good friend of the rock show. Phil Michaels with us. The album is called Store Bought Love. Phil, as always, man, thanks so much for being here on the show. It's always a pleasure.
Always my pleasure, my friend. Thank you for your continued support.